Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rotoworld Football Show. I am Patrick Daugherty. It is Friday, January 2nd. We have a new year. It's the year 2026. Listen, even-numbered years are always more aesthetically pleasing than odd-numbered years, but 2026 is a hideous number. Absolutely terrible year, at least on the page. We'll see what happens. We're going to try to get it off on a good note. That's because today Denny's gone. Thank God. Thank God. Denny's stranded in Canada yet again. It's Kyle Dvorchak. It is, oh my God. It's Patrick Kerrane, who is boned up on week 18. So first off, Pat did not know week 18 existed.
I didn't. I thought it ended at week 17.
Pat,
because that's where all the money is.
Pat plays best ball. He didn't even know there was an 18th week on the schedule now because all of his stuff just goes through week 17. But no, Pat, no stranger to the show. He's been on this preview show many, many times over the years. We are thrilled to have him. Pat Kerrane of Legendary Upside. Leg up, check it out, subscribe if you have not already done so. Truly essential content, not an essential week. Week 18, we know who's playing. We definitely know what players are playing. I know if Josh Allen's going to play. The best player in the league, you think I don't even have any clue if he's actually playing? Why would you suggest that? Because no, it's a weird week. We're going to try to catch you up on who's actually playing, what to expect. There are some huge games. Seahawks at the 49ers. Ravens at the Steelers on Sunday Night Football on NBC. Cowboys, Giants. Okay, they're already out of big games, but Cowboys, Giants. We're going to talk about everything, get some interesting angles and things, but we would be remiss if we did not ask Patrick Kerrane. So, Pat, on a scale of 1 to 2 million, how much do you resent Sam Sherman for stealing your bit? He stole your bit. You're supposed to be the writer, the industry guy who wins these things. Sherman. Yep.
Yeah, don't hate the player, hate the game. It's like it's a good bet. It's a really good bet. I would recommend.
Hold on, no. I still think Pat claims this title because Sherman is just the best fantasy football player in private equity or whatever he's doing. He's not the best fantasy football player in the fantasy space.
He retired.
His bio retired.
Yeah. So as far as fantasy football analysts that have won,
Chess Liam is, of course, the best player, as you were going to say.
Retired fantasy football analyst, he's the most recent.
That's right. Well, Pat Sherman's just stealing money from soft private equity guys. They think they're smart. I move money around. I can surely do this best ball thing. And Sam took candy from them like a baby. Pat, of course, did this several years ago. I started a website, again, Legendary Upside. It's great. Yeah, congrats to Sam Sherman. What was that like sweating it live with him?
It was crazy, man. Because it's like it wasn't supposed to be like that hardcore of a sweat,
It always is, no matter what.
But the thing is, it was supposed to be for people unfamiliar with kind of where he was at. He had a decent sized lead, but the team behind him, one of the teams behind him, had Puka Nacua and Kyle,
otherwise
Pitt.
known as the Terminator, Puka Nacua.
Yeah, so you're like, I'm steeling myself to root, against Puka Nacua having this huge game, knowing that he could. But then we get into that game, it's like Puka's not having a huge game. So, you start to, and then you look over on BBMDB. Shout out to Pat Donovan over there for that website. But the EV, which he later admitted was maybe a touch hot, was like coming up to, it started like 1.3 million for Sam, at the start of the night or something like that. And it was up to like 1.95. So it's like saying he's going to win. It's over because Puka's not having this big game. Well, Bijan starts going nuts. And so now Sam's like, we're scrambling and trying to figure out, like, are there Bijan teams that can chase him down? There are. So then it's like, and then the game almost is looking like it's going to go to overtime. And in the process of the Rams getting to overtime, the Puka team is like super live to pass him now. So it became this like additional. He was sweating something he didn't know he was going to sweat. He was sweating this Bijan stuff. And then he's sweating that the game doesn't go to overtime when it looked like the Rams are going to get blown out at one point. So it had a lot of like twists and turns to it. So at the end, I was just like, please don't let this go to overtime. Because overtime is like, it's not like one person could, he might have fallen to third at that point or even fourth. So, and then the idea of like, okay, now there's you thought you were done? No. You've got another half an hour, buddy. Strap in. So I was just like, I just didn't feel it would have been rough to have to go to overtime.
Two quick things there. Kyle dropped a Bijan anvil on my head pretty early in our championship matchup in our home league. He won that. There was no sweat. I died instantly. That was over pretty quick. So that was actually nice to be quick and painless. And Kerrane is highlighting a really unfortunate fact about our game, about our industry. Is it's fun until it gets real. Like the end of the season's not even fun. It's like, I got to go to a Christmas party, but like, oh man, Ricky Pearsall, like there's no way Ricky Pearsall's going to catch me. And he's caught 5 passes in the first half. And my life is over. And the end of the year.
How do you explain that at the Christmas party? You can't explain that at the Christmas party. At the Christmas party, if Josh Allen scores 4 times, like, I lost my fantasy league. But it's never that. It's always, it's like, oh.
Have you ever heard of this guy?
Pearsall.
Yeah, he just ruined my life.
Yeah.
You might not know it. Jake Tunges is evil. Actually, evil guy. Like, he's not a good guy at all. Like, go to his Wikipedia. You can see he's not a good guy at all.
Yeah. The personal life section on his Wikipedia. It's going to shock you.
Don't click on the Jake Tunges personal life section. But so the end of the year, not so fun sometimes, but it's mostly over. So all the sweats are over. So you might even ask, why are we talking about week 18? The answer is we don't really know. Out of habit, force of habit. There's still
I'm in I'm helping out with my wife's league. Just, from time to time, checking in, seeing if maybe waivers got done. They didn't. Seeing if the starting lineup needs to be set. It does. Hey, babe, you made the playoffs.
Oh, cool.
It's the week 18 league. So there's still stuff going on in week 18.
You're up about 50 points heading into week 18 because the stupid league includes week 18 for some reason in a 2-week matchup. So that's the league I'm
There's more, I guess. Yeah, we shouldn't be dismissive. There's more than you might think going on. So
Pat, your fabled distance scoring league runs through like spring training for baseball.
Oh yeah, that's not even close to over. That goes through the Super Bowl. We got 6 weeks left of that, so the season's really just beginning there. Week 18 begins in Santa Clara, San Francisco, California, battling for the NFC's #1 seed in Santa Clara. The stakes could not be higher as Seattle arrives in town as 1.5 point favorite. I guess they could be higher because
they could be higher. Yeah, could be higher.
They can actually be considered. But
they're about to be one higher. Like, just wait a week if you want the stakes to be higher.
The next 2 games actually have considerably higher stakes than this. But Kyle, this is another 49ers shootout waiting to happen? What do we expect from the game environment in Seattle and San Francisco?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a shootout, right? And I especially think that it is useful, if you care for it to be a shootout, that the best pass rush in this game is on the Seattle side. Because I do think that if we think Sam Darnold can get rattled, it's definitely possible that a game devolves into a low-scoring affair, but the 49ers pass rush is below average in generating pressure. The Seahawks pass rush is a top 10 unit in generating pressure. Purdy's actually been really good, been a top 5 quarterback in terms of PFF passing grade under pressure this year. I will note the Seahawks are really tight on intermediate throws as a defense, 10 to 19 yards downfield, kind of the money zone for the 49ers. They're actually one of the best in YPA allowed there. That's been where Purdy has been the best. But I still think the offense wins out in that capacity, and the pass rush of Seattle is negated by Purdy playing really well under pressure, kind of a development we've had in recent years where when things break down early in Purdy's career, understandably, didn't really look capable of handling that. He's done a great job handling it when things don't go to the Shanahan scheme to a T, still plays good football. So I do think the elements of the Seattle defense will probably not be as potent versus the 49ers as they would against other teams. So yeah, shootout adjacent.
47.5 felt a little light to me for the game total. I actually don't know what it is right now. I don't know if it's moved or not, but I think this could shoot out. Kyle, you kind of hit an important point there. This is the first year the Shanny spreadsheet god QB actually looks as good in real life. Like Purdy has been like unbelievable.
He's been awesome, man.
Really good.
Like truly awesome.
If Purdy was 37 years old, he'd win MVP.
That's right. That's right. Well, yeah. For folks who may not remember, Patrick Kerrane is the biggest Drake May partisan there is. And
no, the MVP's always been a lifetime achievement award, and I think we should stick with that. That's important.
Well, Pat, have you
Stafford is leading the league in several key categories.
Have you looked at the MVP odds? Drake is favored. You don't have to be upset.
No, I am upset because I actually don't think he's going to win because all the voters they're like, but this touchdown higher.
Stat Padford is going to give them something to think about this weekend. Don't you worry about that. Kerrane, so you already sound upset about something. You sound upset about the MVP race.
No, I'm just saying if Brock Purdy was 37 years old, he would win MVP. That's it.
That's fair. That's how it works, actually. What made you the most upset about either the Seahawks or 49ers this year? I feel like there was a lot to be upset about with both these teams. What particularly galled you about the Seahawks or 49ers in 2025, now 2026?
Actually, don't. So I think the 49ers, like, this season is potentially going under the radar for all of us, like including me, where, I'm doing a bunch of playoff best ball drafts now where I'm trying to, draft teams that are making, I'm making predictions on which teams are actually going to make the Super Bowl.
Yes.
I've been using the 49ers in those drafts for weeks is like, well, they won't, maybe they only win one game at most, but they'll help me get through round one of these tournaments. In the wild card round, they're going to score a bunch of points, which would be helpful. Well, that might not be true at all because they might have the bye. And so, like, I've been underestimating this team, I think. But I think that I'm kind of doing a bit there with the MVP stuff, but partly because if Purdy had just played 14 games at this rate, he should win the MVP. Like, he is ahead of Drake May in EPA per game. He's significantly ahead of Drake May in success rate, and Drake May is quarterback 2 in both of those metrics. He's, I think, the MVP, but Purdy is not really eligible because he only played 8 games. But this is an MVP level season that Purdy's put together. He's been way better than Mac Jones, even though Mac Jones was quite good when he was there. So I think the thing that's a bummer about the 49ers, upsets me about the 49ers, is just that they lost Fred Warner and Bosa. If they have Nick Bosa on this defense, maybe they do have a pass rush. And obviously losing Fred Warner is huge. The defense has been okay, even with those injuries, like in recent weeks. It's not a disaster, but it does make you struggle to see how they actually like put together a Super Bowl run. Cause it's like someone's going to get them at some point. Like they're just, it's vulnerable enough on the defensive side, but this might be like the best version of the 49ers offense that we're going to see. Because you still have McCaffrey kind of hanging on, and Purdy's playing at the best we've probably seen him play. So, if McCaffrey falls off a little bit next year, maybe the offense actually takes a step back. So it's a little disappointing to see the offense playing so well and maybe not be able to get there because of the defensive injuries. But
it's always how it happens in the NFL. 2 quick thoughts to what you added there, to what you said there, Pat. One reason Purdy did, you can be upset he didn't appear in 14, 15 games or whatever. God did not allow that to happen because he knew that a 49ers spreadsheet merchant could not win the MVP. And even though I just said he's no longer a spreadsheet guy, that was almost nature protecting itself from itself. Like, listen, he can't actually win MVP. Like, this cannot happen. The Shanny quarterback cannot win MVP.
Does he win Coach of the Year? Like, how does this?
No, because you know how that goes. Coach of the Year only matters if it's surprising. Like, it doesn't matter if you're the best surprising coach every year. No, they don't care. They expect Shanny to. I expected Shanny to be like a sorcerer and do
with half with the quarterback playing half a season.
That's how the
I don't know. I've been very impressed.
Well, you talk about the 49ers sneaking into the playoffs. By the way, like when you go through playoff scenarios, that's how it was last week.
Yeah,
like there'd be like a show, like 45 minutes talking about like the Steelers and the Ravens, and then as like the credits roll, like, oh yeah, by the way, the 49ers control their own destiny from the
it's crazy.
Kind of snuck up on everybody. And I'm glad that you didn't say you were upset about Kenneth Walker, by the way.
Why would he be upset? He didn't draft any Ken Walker.
I didn't know if
I didn't really draft him.
Most good players didn't, but
the thing that's funny about Kenneth Walker is that, like, yeah, obviously he's better than Zach Charbonnet, but like he's not that good either. So
that was like the point that people were missing the entire time. Yeah. Is it going to be Ricky Pearsall season this game, by the way? Talk about the 49ers offense coming together. That includes Pearsall, who I thought wasn't going to contribute.
They're going to still play the starters, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah,
they have to.
So then no.
Come on.
He got us both, Pat. Both
he walked real hard into that one. Yeah, sorry. Man. I was like, Pat, come on.
Yeah. We know you. It was a joke that we didn't prepare, but I did prepare a little bit. That was good.
And he got me really good. The Bucs have been getting me really good. Playing a joke on me every week where none of their players ever do anything. And now they might miss the playoffs. And I missed the finals in a lot of leagues because of a man named Bucky Irving, but not all upset about the Bucs knocking me out of my Survivor League either. Where $10,000 is on the line late in the year. Going heads up for the NFC South title, unless Kirk Cousins has something to say about it, Patrick. The Bucs and Panthers square off in Tampa. The Bucs are 3-point favorites at home. Would you say Bryce Young actually improved this year? This is my Panthers question for you.
Not really.
No, that's not all. Because I mean, that is
really
the
don't.
answer. Is like, come on, man. No. Stop. Be serious.
Who had more EPA per game this season, Bryce Young or Tua Tagovailoa?
Wow.
Is it
Tua.
I mean, we already knew the answer.
It's Tua. It's like barely. It's very, very small. But I mean, Bryce Young keeps doing. He's got a poor success rate, and he's like kind of neutral in EPA. And he was terrible as a rookie. He was terrible to start his second year. Gets benched, comes back, and had a bit of a was stronger in that second half of the year, but it was never like that good. And by the numbers, like it wasn't like he was like cooking. He was just much better than he had been.
He got a little, I don't want to say lucky, because right, he earned these, but he scrambled for a decent amount of touchdowns in that second half of the year when he came back, which makes his numbers look really good. That's not a part of his game that you think like, if he can just develop that, he's going to take the next step. Like the scrambling is nice, but
it's cool if Brock Purdy does it, but then if Bryce Young does it,
well, Brock Purdy throws the ball really well too.
Yeah, I mean Brock Purdy's adding like 12 EPA a game, and Bryce Young's adding none. So, his numbers are similar to like Tyler Shucks this year, which if you're like, hey, this guy's a rookie. Now they're like, I think Shuck might actually be older, but he
is probably older than Bryce.
He's probably older.
Yeah.
But I would go with the guy who hasn't had the experience, as far as like getting better over time. And so it gets to a point where like it's not really that much more potential. How much more potential are you really baking in for Bryce Young versus what you see is what you get? And
it's we're getting what we're seeing, I would say, with Bryce Young.
Okay, by how many months is Tyler Shuck older than Bryce Young? Go ahead.
17.
6.
It's
6 months.
Like 20. It's two, I mean, I think it's 22. It's September 28th of 2 years ahead versus July. Wait, oh my God. Yeah. It's 22 months or give or take. I haven't counted the days, but like,
wow.
Woo, I do agree though, Pat. The experience also plays a big role.
Yeah, you take the lower.
Yeah.
Right.
So Bryce didn't actually get better. I'm kind of glad that scam died down at the end of the year. And I do want Bryce Young to be good, but people were getting a bit out of their skis, declaring like the Bryce Assance. Bryce has arrived. Like I don't know, still throws for 192 yards every game.
Yeah, one reason I always cite EPA per game, not per play, because I mean, because I do fantasy stuff primarily. I'm trying to primarily predict production, and so volume matters a ton. But I think volume matters a lot for like how good these guys are. Like one thing you see with like a Jimmy G, for example, we talk about like the EPA scam artists of all time. They were always run heavy. Like they were super run heavy. Like what is a quarterback able to do when it's all on his shoulders?
Yes, that is a much better way to look at it.
And then what is a team doing to either accentuate that the way that the Chiefs have played with Mahomes every single year, basically. Even this year, they were playing with the offense completely built around Mahomes. Bengals do with Burrow. The Rams have a lean to the pass relative to their game scripts. The Patriots do. You're building your offense around the strongest part, or are you like desperately hiding your quarterback and hoping you can win with the run like as much as humanly possible, like the Panthers like frequently do? And I think that tells you a lot. Teams with great quarterbacks, or even like strong quarterback play, tend not to play that way unless there's something like in the Chargers where they just don't have an offensive line, or the defense is horrendous and you're trying to, play time of possession a little bit. But generally the way the Panthers have played, which is very run heavy, even in negative game script, when being run heavy might actually be costing them win percentage. That tells you that they don't have full confidence in the passing game either.
That's the best counterpoint to EPA per play I've ever heard, which of course is an extremely useful stat, but that helps highlight the disconnect. Like, well, how's Jimmy G's EPA per play always so high? That's because they only let him drop back 28 times per game. And if you have to drop back 44 times per game, your EPA might not be as high, but you might in the end Do a lot
It's like
more
a
cool
spot up
stuff.
shooter or something. You're good at hitting this shot.
Yes.
So we're not going to ask you to like drive to the paint ever. There's some other guy we asked to do that who like kind of sucks at it. This is the analogy for the run game, but like it doesn't get tacked to your stats, Jimmy. So don't worry about it. You'll look awesome.
Kyle, to put a bow on this game, any hope for Emeka or Bucky Irving, or have we just moved on? Are we beyond caring about this at this point?
I mean, Bucky still sees the vast majority of the carries. Over his past 3 weeks, he's at 69% of the team's carries. He saw a 14% target share last week, which he hasn't been earning a ton of targets since he came back. If he saw 2/3 of the carries, a little more than 2/3 of the carries, and 14 or 15% of the targets, that's the kind of usage you'd be thrilled with, because not only is it good usage, but he's a good player. You think he'll produce more on that usage than the league average player. He's just not seeing goal line work, which like a lot of players get there. Some players get there without seeing goal line work. And I would bet on Bucky above the average player to get there without goal line work. There's hope, but he is so much more boom bust than we would have thought because he doesn't see goal line work. And like I said, last week was like the first time he's actually earned targets since coming back from the injury. So he's much more boom bust, kind of probably top 24 this week, because this week is dumb and weird, but he's playable. Egbuka, no, there's no hope. 54% of the routes last week, 11% target share. I don't think his first target came until the third quarter. The OC talked last week about getting him more involved early. And on their first drive, Jalen McMillan sees 3 targets. Like there's going to be a fun topic in the offseason talk about Egbuka, but right now it's not because he's not playable.
That is the thing on Egbuka. Going to be one of those hotly debated players of the entire offseason and best ball, redraft. But for week 18, we're not super into it. That's what we're saying. To put a bow on this 2025, to put a bow on this game, we're going to do a quick promo. Then we'll be right back after this. Win and you're in. Another chapter in the bitter Ravens-Steelers rivalry will be written on Sunday evening. Find out who advances to the playoffs in the last regular season game of the 2025-26 season, only on NBC and Peacock. So you have the Panthers and Bucs are only sort of going heads up for the division because, again, El Kirko, if he wins, then the Bucs, doesn't matter what they do. The Ravens and Steelers are doing it for real, Kyle. How are the Steelers getting by on offense right now, besides, not very well? Darnell Washington's broken arm, DK Metcalf suspended. It's been a tough watch. What are you expecting to see Sunday evening on the Peacock on NBC?
When you said, in your question you wrote getting by, I'm like, I didn't really get by last week. It's like watching Titanic with binoculars. Like, how is that boat getting by? It's not exactly the words I'd use to describe it. But to your point, they're not only in playoff contention, they're a win, or I believe a tie would even get them into the playoffs as the NFC.
Oh, don't let Tomlin find that out because he's playing.
Oh my God. Please. It'd be so
tie gets
fun.
them in. That is bleak.
Because the Ravens just have one fewer win. They need to win to get the tie, and then they hold tiebreakers or whatever. A literal tie means the Steelers just have a better record and get in. So,
for the top.
Please. I feel like having a strong
I frankly
run
want it
game,
to happen very bad.
I want it to happen. It's like it's a train crash I could never look away from. If they
then the Steelers and the play, then you have to watch the Steelers again.
That's true. That's a good point.
The Ravens have been so fun to watch this year. I just love to see another Ravens.
I want to see Zay Flowers catch 11 passes for 82 yards and a wild card loss. Yeah, that'd be cool.
And a fumble. You're going to see -1 on his DK score.
Don't forget the fumble.
Yeah. So the Steelers have been getting by with run game. Even last week when they were without DK Metcalf, Darnell Washington leaves early with the broken arm. A -10%. Extreme Arthur Smith coded -10% pass rate over expected. And you can't really blame them, given how bad their wide receiver room is without DK Metcalf. Last week was out without Calvin Austin, too. He could be back this week. And given the run game has been really good. They're top 5 in EPA per play on the ground this year. And over the past month, they're top 3. They're third is why I call it top 3. They're a really good run game right now. Jalen Warren's kind of broken out of the second half of the year. Kenneth Gainwell's a really good, heavily used backup as far as backups go. And I think they're going to, in a low scoring, what is this, 40.5 total? In which the Ravens probably are also comfortable playing that run-heavy, low-scoring game. I don't think there's a lot of volume for Rodgers. I think we see a lot of Jalen Warren and probably a decent amount of Kenneth Gainwell, too.
We don't know for sure if Lamar Jackson is even playing in this game, Pat.
He told reporters he's playing, I think. So he's playing. Because injury report technically hasn't come out yet, but it's only as a technicality he's playing, I think.
Thought he might have played last week, but he didn't do that. And so, Pat, that has questions arising, do this player and team still like each other? Are you part of the chorus that is, quote, worried about Lamar heading into this game, heading into the offseason?
I'm part of the chorus that started Lamar Jackson in a guillotine league against the Bengals and got bounced. So, yeah, I'm pretty worried. I'm a little worried.
It's not personal, though.
Dude. It's
totally
not personal. Yeah, not.
Totally
I'm not angry with Lamar. Okay. No, it's definitely concerning the way that. I mean, this season is so weird for the Ravens, where like the defense has been an issue, but then like you get Lamar back, and it feels like they're kind of in control, and they just flopped, in that period. Now they're lucky that Aaron Rodgers, after kind of looking good for a couple weeks, like he kind of had a little bit of the old magic, just went full old man, just couldn't handle the idea. I've never seen a quarterback just like defeated by the idea of a pass rush before.
Well, it wasn't that. He was defeated by pride. Very famously, Brett Favre rigged the sack record for Michael Strahan's. I want my friend to get the sack record. Rodgers was so concerned about Myles Garrett not getting
the sack
record. But I don't think that was even fear of getting hit. It was like, you are not getting this record against me. You are not doing this. And then he basically tanked the game just solely so he wasn't in the record books as the guy who took the record-breaking sack.
I would like the listeners to note, this is a perfect 2021 Rotoworld football show where Kerrane says something like, well, their pass rush rate over expected actually was a real problem for Aaron Rodgers. And then Daugherty, smoking a cigar like he's Freud, is like, it was actually pride that was the downfall.
No, I think it was also pride. I'm agreeing. That's where the pass rush was like, they were like, the whole game plan was built on stopping Garrett. And he was just like, yeah, I'm just going to throw one-on-one balls to, Scotty Miller on the outside, as opposed to like letting these routes develop. Kyle, were you the one who shared this very funny video breakdown of the routes?
No, someone else shared it.
Okay.
I'm not as logged on as they are.
I'm worried for this other person now.
My iPhone screen time is going down this year.
Oh, congrats. He means 2026. 2
days, yeah.
Anyway, this person broke down just like very angrily that Rodgers was like missing wide open guys across the middle to get the ball out slightly quicker to the outside guys. But yeah, I mean, this game shouldn't even matter. This game shouldn't matter.
Yes,
the Steelers
that's a good point.
Had to blow it for this game to even matter, which tells you that the Ravens blew it to get to this point. Like, how did you end up in a situation that this Steelers team was in control of their own destiny? So yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Patriots game, I was surprised when he was ruled out for that game. I was surprised when he didn't play last week. I'm glad to hear he's going to play this week. But of course, all the stuff's come out like between him and Harbaugh, and is that Reddit post and everything. You're like, this doesn't feel. No, the vibes are bad. The vibes are bad. I don't have a lot of answers, but it's not good.
No, and Harbaugh just calling it a bruise. Like, I feel like he was trying to be dismissive of the injury intentionally at first, and then he kind of backtracked. And the reason I'm worried about Lamar, just beyond like the psychological stuff between him and the teams, Lamar, what makes him a Hall of Fame player is that he truly had an extra gear. But like when you have the extra gear, like even losing 5 to 10% of your physical ability can be a massive deal. And I just think we saw that this year. We're like, maybe he could still get to 100% health and be the same Lamar for a little bit, but that's less likely and less common as you get older. And I just think we did begin to see the aging of Lamar, who had been so good at avoiding hits and avoiding the kind of injuries that would slow him down. I think that's finally kind of what began in earnest. He could still have another pop-up year or two, though.
I don't know.
He can stay reasonably healthy. But he's just going to strike me as a guy, Pat, who could afford to lose even 5% of his athletic ability before it starts to really take a toll. You know what I mean? Like the people were like kind of happened to Mike Trout. Like he was like the true cut above athlete of everyone else in Major League Baseball. And then he lost even 5%. And he's like a totally different player. I don't know. I might be overthinking it.
I don't know. I don't think that's it, to be honest. I don't think it's a physical thing. I think it's like the situation around this team just feels off. And I mean, think about like how well Mike Vick was playing at the end of his career. It was like 35, 36. He's like blown by defenders. I mean, Lamar's speed is like on a different level. And I think
I'm with Pat. Like, he hasn't had a 15-yard carry since week 1. He's broken 8 tackles this year. He broke 45 last year, 44 the year before that. His speed this year he just hasn't had the long gains. He hasn't been even like trying.
No, I know the production as a runner hasn't been there, but I don't know. I mean, he didn't win the MVP last year, but he certainly was deserving of it. So
he should have.
Yeah, I actually think Allen edged him out, but both guys, it was like very deserving.
Good year.
And
yeah.
So I don't know. I just don't think like physically something happened in like March, where this dude isn't, like something's going on. I don't know.
Well, maybe he's not laying it on the line for this team and coach anymore because he's over it. And that's
right. I think that's more likely. Like if I'm just like putting the probabilities, it's like this has maybe run its course in Baltimore more than Lamar at 28. I think he turns 29 in a week, but he's not even 30. Like that he's fallen off, that he couldn't do it if he really wanted to be out there, running for a ton of yards. Like he absolutely could. He absolutely physically still could, I think.
That is still concerning. But anyways, there'll be another chapter in this.
Do you guys have any hope in like, because I'm thinking about this for the playoff best ball stuff, like if they win this game and they get in, do they have a run in them? Like
no, instantly bounced.
Nope.
Yep.
I kind of do think maybe they do. Like
they're kind of like that Eagles team from 2 years ago. It's totally different, but that's how bad the vibes are.
No, it's the Eagles team that got bounced by the Bucs.
The Eagles team that got destroyed by the Bucs. Yeah, it's the one I'm talking about.
They theoretically, I'm thinking about like they won't, because that's not really how football works. Like you don't just like the vibes kind of linger. It takes something to clear them.
It's like momentum. Where like, oh, they just lost the momentum. Where you're like, I don't really get how then how do I acquire it again or whatever? It's kind of the opposite. That we're like, nah, the vibes are just going to suck for the rest of the year. I think
the vibes probably just suck for the rest of the year. But I don't think like this team is capable of more. Is kind of what I'm saying.
To your point,
capable of more.
There's a thing in sports. I always think of my 2006 St. Louis Cardinals, 2004 and
we
5.
do too. We think about them a lot.
Amazing teams. They won 205 combined games, but didn't win the World Series. Then they had a hangover year in 2006. They won 83 games, but then they won the World Series. It was still the same core. It was the team that muddled through there's a post-hype championship. The first Peyton Manning Super Bowl was a post-hype championship where they are kind of a class team. Like, if just get in the tournament, like Pat said, they're capable of more. The talent is still there. That, in theory, is there for the Ravens, but they just don't seem to like each other at all. And
I'm just trying to think, if there's a world where in the divisional rounds, they're leading and they've won in the wild card round, and it's like this team, they turned a corner, they figured some stuff out.
It is possible. They have enough.
Why was I betting against Lamar, at home?
Well, you're betting against him because every week the Lions were awful, and you could easily have bet against the Ravens and made money this year.
Well, that's
give up the idea that they we have to give up this game though. The Cowboys, the Giants, only one game with the total north of 50 this week, and it's a pair of teams in Dallas and New York. They can't necessarily be trusted to put their best foot forward in this one, Kerrane. The Giants are fixated on Jackson Dart's long-term health. Are you in on him in Dynasty? A guy who's already had like 19 different concussion evaluations as a rookie.
Yeah, I think for Dynasty, I am in. I'm a little bit nervous about kind of the perception around him. And I really don't like that this idea, that we have to we must protect Jackson Dart and kind of limit what he does a little bit. It's like, look, man, you drafted a nut job. He's a nut job. But it's kind of cool, it's kind of great in some ways. I wish he would protect himself more. He needs to learn how to not get a concussion to get 3 extra yards. He's got to learn how to stop taking those hits. But I think his willingness, and the competitiveness to go get tough yards and the ability to do it as well, those are great. Those are great assets to have in a quarterback. You need a coaching staff, I think, that's looking to maximize him, that's looking to build in some. He's kind of like Jalen Hurts to me, or something like that. He's a little bit. He's not super fast, but he's kind of a dual threat. And I think if you're not building an offense that utilizes his legs like more than a Drake May, who's got, the ability to win with his legs. But
May just stopped. That was cool. Drake didn't need to run at all.
He's still running, but he's like really picking his spots, and it's more on scrambles. They don't utilize him on like design stuff as much. I think with Dart, you probably do need to utilize him on some design stuff. And I hope that the next coaching staff is willing to do that. I think with Kafka, they've basically just been trying to get through the season without a major injury to Dart. And almost, it seems like, I think getting rid of Daboll might have actually kind of stunted his development a little bit.
It's never concern. It's never a good sign when a team is like working against a player's strengths.
Yeah.
You can kind of see why they're doing a stretch run,
which I get why. He does take crazy hits that he doesn't need to.
But like this is precious development time though too, and it's kind of like, wow, you're just kind of wasting it. So it is strange. Yeah. He's similar to Jalen Hurts, by the way, in that he's like tough as nails, probably too tough for his own regard. Hurts.
But I would, if you gave me Jackson Dart or Cam Ward, I would take Jackson Dart.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this is not close. Yeah,
especially in Dynasty.
A lot of people think it's not close the other way. That you would take Cam Ward without even thinking.
It might not be if you're thinking on like a 10-year horizon still, but in Dynasty, I think it's a mistake to ever think beyond 2 to 3 years. And Jackson Dart is the 2 to 3 year option there for sure. We'll talk more about Dart this offseason. Kyle, am I correct that I just kind of feel like the Cowboys aren't going to try this weekend? Do you have any worries about this? Like, I'm honestly worried. I do have a league still going. I'm worried about starting Pickens because, like, are the Cowboys actually going to try? Do you share this fear or not?
Yeah. Actually, I have a note from Jerry Jones personally phoned this one to me where he's quoting, he's talking to a reporter. Maybe he's talking on the radio because he just goes on the radio a lot. He said, how we use Dak, where we use him, those kinds of things. Let's just make that part of the game plan that we don't really talk about. As in, he's playing this very close to the vest with how much Dak will be playing. You only do that if Dak is not playing the full game. Like, I just don't see in what universe Dak plays all 4 quarters. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a close game and they just want to keep chasing stats. Dak right now is fighting for the yardage, the yardage lead this year, the yardage crown. He's 34, I believe, ahead of Matthew Stafford, who also might not finish his game. I'm sure that means a little bit to him. George Pickens is just chasing the bag. He's a free agent. He could get franchise tag, but as of right now,
he's already made his money. He's not going to try.
He should. Absolutely. He should not go out and risk it.
Well, absolutely. Actually, I totally agree. If you're on the team, you should be going all out if you're active for the game.
Do you think he's sure. I'm going to rest? Can you rest me so that it's not as obvious that I'm?
No, that's what he should do. Like, can you do me a solid and like illness DNP Friday, rule me out?
Can I rest on the bench instead of on the field this week?
Yeah. If he's active, obviously he should actually be out there playing. But I'm saying like he should just be inactive. Like he should be. Said. He's made a sickening amount of money because he's an awesome football player. There's nothing left for him to prove. We all know he's good. Dak, again, there's nothing left for
the Cowboys, right? They're not going to let him go.
They're going to franchise tag him. I don't think there's any way.
They're going to try. The Cowboys, you have to look at what will create maximum resentment in the situation. Yes. And franchise tagging George Pickens will do that, and that's what they're going to.
And then hardball, and then play real hardball. We're getting reports where, like the offers aren't within 10 million of the number he wants.
George Pickens hasn't turned his phone on since April. We're going to be getting reports like this, so.
I would actually set the line at like 3.5 quarters played for the Cowboys starters. I do not think they see the final minute of the game.
I'll be asking you on Sunday if I'm starting George Pickens. Sorry to speed us through, but a lot of games. And you mentioned Padford. We're at his game. Cardinals in LA, Kyle. Jacoby Brissett is out of gas. The number 6 seed Rams are basically out of regular season motivation. It's just one of the stranger games on the board this week because the Rams are actually insisting they're going to play their starters. Against that backdrop, Kyle, what is your Arizona DFS exposure going to be like this weekend?
I mean, this is a good spot where I do think the Cardinals are like, especially Jacoby Brissett specifically, is low enough on the totem pole that there's no reason for him not to play. Michael Wilson probably fits that category too. Like, he's not the player they have the most invested in, and he's fighting for, I don't think his contract years this year. I think it's one away, but like he is, unlike George Pickens, like fighting for his reputation and standing within the team. Think, do you have 1,000 yards yet? I know he's really close, Pat. I think
Michael Wilson needs 93 yards to get to 1K. That's a pretty much ironclad guarantee that will happen this week.
Right? Yeah, it does feel like that. Trey McBride's the only player who should like theoretically be taking the week off, but I do think we probably just see close to 4 quarters of the starters in this game. I think there's a decent chance they play against Rams backups in the second half. I like these. I like these Cardinals, assuming MHJ is out, which I don't know if he's been ruled out yet, but he's not playing this week. He's got the heel thing that won't go away. once MHA is out, this team is real fun. It just throw to the two players who are really good, rack up their stats, and lose a football game. And they're going to do all those things on Sunday.
And McBride wants to put the tight ends catches record out of reach too. I think there's bunch of statistical motivation for Arizona. I don't know why the Rams are saying they're going to play their starters, Pat. Are you seeing any signs of wear and tear for this Rams offense down the stretch? It is definitely, quote, calm down. The midseason was all right, settle down now. Matthew Stafford didn't have to go so hard, and then he did stop going so hard for pretty much the final 5 or 6 weeks of the season. Are you worried about wear and tear for this team?
I mean, not against the Cardinals,
Well, not against the Cardinals. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
that.
The Rams kind of got tagged as like the juggernaut, the best team in the league, sort of vibe, and then they just like lost a bunch of games, and we're like, yeah, but like they probably still are.
Wait, hold on. It was that Emmanuel Forbes? I thought this had to be a different one.
The Falcons are a challenging defense, so I don't think it's like crazy that they had some struggles against them.
Also, the classic Raheem Morris knows the Rams,
Right. Yeah, they do some interesting stuff on defense. So they've been the Falcons, but they've also had some impressive games. So I don't know. I mean, I'm more worried, I think, about the defense, which has not been like at one point you're like, damn, this defense is up there with the best defenses in the league. And that has not looked like the case recently at all. So, I think that's probably the bigger concern as we head into the playoffs, that maybe the Rams defense, it's not bad, but as far as playoff defenses go, it might not be like a needle moving unit.
No, and I think the Rams are the classic, needed the 1 seed, needed the bye.
Mm-hmm.
Older team, older quarterback. I'm sure like the nicks and bruises are mounting. They could have used a week to reset. They could have been great for them to not leave LA. Now they have to do the full gauntlet. I think the Rams, famous last words, championship pedigree, whatever you're going to call it, they could easily make a run, but I do think they kind of missed their window in making a run. And
they probably are the 5 seeds, so then they get.
I think they're the 6 seed.
I think they're
probably more like the 6 seed. Yeah. Oh man. So that's probably the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yep.
So not great. Rematch of last year. What happened? So we'll see. Be very interesting.
That's a wolf for me watching that game, by the way, not necessarily for them losing. I'm just imagining the Eagles-Rams game.
You made a really important point, Pat. We're fantasy brained. The offense has still been fine. You're correct for the Rams. That the far bigger concern is the defense than the offense. The far bigger concern is that still talk about the Tennessee Titans. They still exist. What am I reading what I wrote? I have no idea what this means, and now I remember what it means. The Indiana Hoosiers of the NFL, the Jacksonville Jaguars, are somehow alive for the AFC's number 1 seed as they face the Titans as 2 touchdown favorites. Patrick, has something actually changed with this Jags offense? So I'm asking the reverse of the Rams. The Rams offense cooled down. The Jags offense has heated all the way up. Do you consider that for real heading in the playoffs, or is it just kind of statistical variation? These things happen in smaller sample sizes.
No, I think the Jags offense is definitely, it's time to start taking them, and I think most people are taking them pretty seriously, because you're now to a point where like Trevor Lawrence's season-long numbers are pretty good. They're not great. He doesn't look like, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but he looks, pretty similar. If you look at EPA success rate, pretty similar to where Stroud, Goff, Herbert, that kind of cluster is.
I thought you were going to say this gave a stat that made him look good.
Well, it does make him look good compared to where he was. Like Trevor Lawrence had been kind of in the like Bo Nix, full season Baker Mayfield, Caleb Williams, not too much above Bryce Young. Like these guys who can pop up and have like really strong games, but are pretty inconsistent play to play and are just sometimes turn in true stinkers, even though they have some really fun games as well. Lawrence's consistency is way up and his efficiency has been solid. So yeah, he's not necessarily a guy who you are expecting to go win a playoff game on his own, but he's allowing the offense to put up points and operate in kind of a balanced or even run first way, and then he's adding value on top of that. So there was a point at which I thought the Jags were basically hiding Trevor Lawrence and really, really going run heavy. But what they did is they kind of came out of that part of the season and they started being a little bit more pass first, but kind of they're sort of a run. They're like more like the Bears now or the Lions, where like they're a run first team, but they're not afraid to pass the ball. And they figured out ways to get a lot of value out of the passing game. So the passing game is really dangerous now too. So to me, this looks like a team with a first year head coach that is kind of found its identity, and it's built around the run to a large degree. But I do think that Lawrence's play is very encouraging. I mean, they will have Bashal Tutin back for the playoffs as well, which I think is helpful in that run game. Etienne's played really well, but Tutin's been encouraging, exciting in a smaller sample. So it's nice to have him back. Jacoby Myers' addition has been huge, very clearly. They're not dependent on Brian Thomas the way they were earlier in the year. Parker Washington has emerged now. Brenton Strange is a contributor. So this is a deep passing game. It's going to be a deep running game. The offensive line is solid. The quarterback play is, a little better than solid. So I think that in the Jags defense is kind of like able to do some stuff, that you can throw on them, you can move the ball, but they actually rank okay in like EPA and stuff because they've made some big plays. So I think this is a dangerous team. This is not necessarily a team that I'm excited about to like make a true Super Bowl run, but this is a team that can beat pretty much anybody in one game.
Couldn't agree. But I called on Monday's show, Kyle. I called the Jags like the classic team I wouldn't want to face in the AFC. And to put a bow on everything you just said, I think the spreadsheets are merging with like the narrative. Like, they're comfortable in the system. Like they finally know each other type of deal. It takes longer in the NFL these days. They don't practice as much in the summer, blah, blah, blah. Where you can see like the spreadsheets merging with like the real-time narrative of like they're just comfortable in Liam Cohen's system now. And I think just a very dangerous team.
Liam Cohen, what I've heard about him, and kind of the things that he does really well, one of them is the in-season kind of figuring out what his guys are doing. And, last year we saw this with Bucky Irving where, he identified Bucky Irving as the clear lead back and, kind of shifted the offense to fit Bucky a little bit better. And then, they're getting a way more productive run game than when they were using Rashad White. And, so I think you kind of see the passing game version of that with Jacoby Myers, where they
I was going to say, on the other hand, Brian Thomas Jr. I was going to go a little more somber with it, but like, hey man, you're not playing wide receiver 1 levels. We cannot treat you as the superstar we thought we were going to get. And the acquisition of Jacoby Myers, I think, has worked out really well for all parties. As frustrating as it's been for fantasy. Yeah.
Kyle, quickly, is Cam Ward actually playing better? We'll talk about this a lot more in the offseason. Or is he just no longer committing a league-leading amount of turnovers, which is, by admission, playing better?
I sort of had that note. Actually, I was going to take a different way, but that is important. Not committing turnovers actually is a key component of quarterback play in the NFL. Ironically, though, I will note over the past month, he actually has the 3rd highest turnover-worthy play rate. They just haven't all converted.
He's just lucky. Yeah, never mind. Yeah.
Well, so on the other hand, he's actually a little above league average in pressure to sack rate over the past month, which was not only bad early in the year, but some point around like weeks 8 or 10, he was the worst quarterback in the NFL at converting pressures to sacks. He could not get out of his own way in terms of holding onto the football and letting defenses get home on him. The fact that he's not only cut that down, but he's gotten to the point, and small sample, right? Maybe it's just a month of football, some good scheduling, and things work out for him. But if this did hold for over the course of a season where he was above average in that metric, that would be a massive step forward. It kind of reminds me of the step Caleb Williams made this year, where like, I watch games where I see Caleb Williams sail really bad throws, but he does not take sacks anymore. He was nearly the rookie sack record 2 years ago. And this year, he cut that element out of his game. And I really do think just per the numbers, if you watch them, if you see the fact that they're winning all these games, it made a massive difference to just not be a constant drive killer. If that was the only improvement we saw over the year for Cam Ward, I still think it would be successful second half of the season if he could just cut that out. I also will note that he's got a slightly higher accurate throw rate over the past month as well, which might just be, facing less pressure, taking less sacks. He's getting to get in a rhythm more. So He's improved. I still think he has a long way to go, but he's improved in bad circumstances too, and I think he deserves credit for that.
We'll talk about Cam a lot over the offseason, just like we did last offseason. 2 score favorites against the Dolphins as they vie for the AFC's number 1 seed, Pat Kerrane, the other Pat, the third Pat in this conversation, the Pats as they're known, could nevertheless send some key players to the showers early. That's because their seizing of the top seed relies on the zombie Chargers beating the Broncos. Probably not going to happen. So against that backdrop, are the Patriots a team you would stay away from and line up in DFS decisions? They are probably going to spend a half trying to juice Drake May's numbers as he pursues the MVP.
Yeah, I think I would. I mean, they're not going to get the 1 seed. The Broncos are going to get the 1 seed unless they lose to Trey Lance.
Listen, Bo Nix. Listen, he could lose to Trey Lance. That's all I'm going to say. He probably.
I mean, what size tournament would you need to play to where maybe there's Trey Lance Patriots. You could do a Trey Lance stack with the Patriots receivers.
Oh wow!
Maybe they'll stay in.
Quiet for a second. Say that again.
Yeah. Well, this is going to lose you money, so maybe don't write it down. But theoretically, yeah. I mean, I don't have much faith in the Chargers with Trey Lance to beat the Broncos, and so then it becomes kind of a, what's the point of this? And we saw, last week they pulled Drake May with 5 minutes left in the third. So they understand, like, this is a team that I think because of how good Drake May has played, they can make a Super Bowl run. Like this is an MVP level player here. So the dumbest thing you could do is for like a 3% chance of getting the 1 seed, get May hurt, So I think at some point they gotta sit him.
He's going toe-to-toe with the ultimate stat patter of all time, though, Matthew Stafford. And there could be a little motivation, like just pat it out a little, pat it out a little, pat it out a little.
Well, yeah, maybe what the Rams will do is just bench Stafford until they get to the 4-yard line. And then Devontae Adams will come limping on the field. And
that's called the Rodgers. It's called the 2024 Rodgers. We saw that.
No, because that's what's most valuable to a team.
That's true.
It's a 3-yard touchdown.
All right. Oh, come on. All right.
It's important. It's no other way to get score from the 3 than to throw it to a receiver.
This resentment's getting a lot deeper as the show goes on. Kyle, any DFS intrigue with the zombie Dolphins? Darren Waller sent to IR on Friday.
We don't have the Friday injury report yet, that Devon Achane wasn't spotted at practice. I believe that will be 3 straight DNPs for him. Yeah, didn't practice. I don't see why he would play at this point. I think that makes Jalen Wright kind of interesting.
Quinn Ewers and cash also.
No, we have so many bad fun cash options. Trey Lance, like you got Trey Lance, you got Riley Leonard. Like take the guys who can run and then also throw for 75 yards and 2 picks. So there's just so many fun options. Jalen Wright should see all the work. I'm not really sure what that's worth against a really good Pats run defense when they're going to probably get blown out. But it's a weird week and you get a running back with all the work who might not be that popular. Probably a decent play. I don't know. I can't bring myself to play Quinn Ewers catching passes, Jalen Waddle. Like that version of Jalen Waddle is just not.
I can't bring myself to listen to any more about the Dolphins, so we'll move on from there. Suddenly a factor in the NFC playoff race. The Falcons are favored at home against the Saints, Kyle, which in turn makes the Panthers the favorites for the NFC South, if so modestly. The Saints have been playing way better of late. They will be missing Chris Olave. Are the Saints going to kind of head into the offseason on a low note? I will say, too, the second Kirk Cousins gets expectations is when Kirk then fails. But the Saints playing so much better down the stretch doesn't really seem set up for a great day against a Falcons defense that, as Pat mentioned earlier, gives opposing quarterbacks fits.
Yeah, especially for fantasy purposes. Outside of Juwan Johnson, I don't see what we make of this game. They're 3.5-point dogs as of your writing of this show sheet. Their leading receiver among the active players that isn't Juwan, their leading wide receiver, is going to be Kevin Austin, I believe 106 yards this year. The only player on the team outside of Juwan who will have over 100 receiving yards on the entire year and will be suiting up on Sunday. Their leading running back will be Audric Estime, with 135 rushing yards this year. We could end up seeing a decent amount of Taysom Hill, probably going back to more of a pass catching role because they're just so down bad at pass catcher, where he can play some tight end. Juwan can play some wide receiver.
Tipton season, as it's known.
He didn't play last week. I don't know if he'll play this week.
I'm just kidding, but
the Saints are going to have 2 to 3 players priced at 3,500 or less on DraftKings who project for like 7 points, which will be like a good points per dollar number. I just don't know to what end. Outside of Juwan, who I think will just get to play a wide receiver 1 role in this game, that'll be fun, and he'll probably be a good play.
Pat, is this a DFS supernova spot for our name brand Falcons, like Kyle Pitts, Drake May, Bijan Robinson, El Kirk Cousins? How do you like this spot? Have you even thought about it? If the answer is no, just say so.
You said Drake May in there. That really threw me.
Drake London, sorry.
Drake London.
Drake London, the other Drake.
I've poisoned your mind. I mean, yeah, it's sure. Yes.
No, let's be real. The Falcons are face planting in this game. This is what Kirk Cousins, like, I won't let you down, coach. Like, oh boy.
No, they only face plant if Carolina loses, because that's where the expectations then become on Kirk
That's
Cousins.
true.
That's like
true.
the Chekhov's gun of this situation.
That's true. The Panthers have to lose then for the Falcons to lose. That's a good point,
Correct.
actually. That's a good point.
But isn't it that if the Bucs win, they're not in? Don't the Falcons also have to lose, or how does that work?
If the Bucs
that's what you're
win,
saying,
they
yeah.
need the
Okay.
Falcons to lose. Is the point.
Got it.
Yeah. So actually, Kyle, it doesn't like the result on Saturday doesn't matter as far as the Falcons are concerned. If they win, the Panthers are in.
Well, but if the Panthers win, the Falcons result doesn't matter.
That's true. That's right. Okay. All right. Yeah,
The only way the
The
expectations
Panthers win, the
fall-
Falcons win.
Kyle Pitts, by the way, actually good question mark. I shouldn't ask a question like this when we're running low on
Kyle
time.
Pitts actually going to get paid? Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Free agent.
Pitts
Pat,
and
you didn't
Pickens.
answer the question though. You actually answered a different question that you yourself posed.
You get
So
paid a lot of money.
you
Which
keep answering a different. What's
I don't know why I don't think he's going to get paid money, Kyle. Because he is.
that he is?
We're just to move on. I don't even know what's going on. Falcons primed for disappointment as always.
I mean, you're playing all like Bijan got you here in your Week 18 matchup. Let's say hypothetically, you're managing your wife's league and it's a Bijan team. You're starting him. You're starting him.
Meeting up on the banks of the Ohio River with dubious purpose. The Bengals and Browns are heading into the offseason following disastrous regular seasons. Kerrane, sort of like the Cowboys, I just do not trust the Bengals to give it their all here. Do you agree this is a suspicious spot for Joe Burrow and company? Because I absolutely love when every week they ask my franchise quarterback, you going to play? You going to play this weekend? And they keep asking Joe Burrow every week if he's going to play. Do you have Bengals suspicion?
It's important if you've got a franchise quarterback who's seems to be more interested in Pokemon than the sport of football, that you play him 4 meaningless quarters against Myles Garrett and behind what might be the worst offensive line in football. That's important to do for culture and team building.
And
So you should do it.
Unironically, I actually think it is.
How could it go wrong?
Well, look, you don't want to give him more time to get into Pokemon. Like
That's true. Yeah,
you give
that's
him
true.
more time to learn about the new evolutions coming out in the next generation of Pokemon, like all the new stuff they had, the new.
I gave my
graphics.
9-year-old daughter a
Come on.
2-week Christmas break, and all she does is learn more about Pokemon. And it's real
This is
bad.
exactly the point I'm making, and it is no different in any capacity.
So. What do you got? Would you guys stay away? Tread lightly with Bengals because we could get rug pulled with them. Is that the?
Well,
the
it's also
tenor?
the Browns. I mean, the Browns are as
my
motivated as
God.
they've been. Some of these teams like the Falcons, right? Like, or the Cardinals, you're like, your season's been over for a long time. So, why sit now? The Browns, all these guys are kind of, Shador's trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do, but he's going to be out there. And Myles Garrett's trying to get the sack record. So, yeah, I think they'll be
Go
playing
ahead,
hard.
name another relevant Brown.
Surely you
Harold
can think of a
Van
third
Ness.
relevant
That's
Brown.
it.
Yeah.
That's the only other relevant Brown.
Nick
Yeah.
Chubb's still on this team. So speaking of the Browns, Kyle, any Browns we have to jam into DFS lineups against this awful Bengals defense? Harold Fannin likely out.
He's already been ruled out. That happened, I think, while we were on the show. David Njoku was also ruled out, but they don't have like a clear backup tight end. They have like XFL superstar Sal Cannella and then like Whiteheart or whatever. So no tight end of note that I think should be played. Running back was a split last week. Dylan Sampson, I believe, out carried Raheem Rocket Sanders, but it was only like 11-8 or something like that, 11-6. So he's not the clear lead back on a team that's on the road and going to get blown out. You can't play Sampson. I mean, like, it's disgusting. But Jerry Jeudy could probably have like a 40% target share in this game. 27% target share last week. I think he pushed
Judy's biggest games always come and it means absolutely nothing too.
Right? It does feel like this could be a statement game for him. Like, you all thought I was bad. What about week 18? Did you think about that? So he's playable. I mean, look, he's going to get all the targets in a game that has a reasonable total in which the Browns are certainly going to have to pass a lot because defense is not good. He's like DFS playable. If you're somehow made it to your week 18 thing where you're managing your wife's league and she doesn't really care, is maybe a little less confident, but like as a low ownership, fun air yards kind of play, I could see it with Jeudy.
Oh hell yeah, Jerry Jeudy.
Listen, I didn't get my wife's league to the championship by playing Jerry Jeudy, Kyle. Okay.
But be serious. Be serious. He did it with Shedeur, of course, in the super flex spot.
I just picked up George Kittle off waivers yesterday. All right. I didn't play Jerry Jeudy in this league. Thank you very much.
Wow. I would have maybe understood Ricky Pearsall, but George Kittle off waivers.
I just checked waivers because I was like, might as well see what's out there. George Kittle's there. I guess someone dropped him because he was hurt last week. But I'm like, you shouldn't do that.
That's a good point.
They might have thought the season was ending.
The season was over because frankly should have been.
It might not have known week 18 was happening. Phillip Rivers knew it was happening. He's like, I'm out of here. I'm retiring a second time. Phillip Rivers has done that, Kyle. So the Colts find themselves 2-score dogs against that ferocious Texans defensive line. We've been talking about DFS. Dare we ride the Riley Leonard Tiger in DFS?
I think I'll pass. I mean, Riley Leonard was really bad under pressure in the preseason, averaged 2.7 yards per attempt.
Listen, he was so good that they signed Phillip Rivers after 5 years on the street to not play.
I mean, that kind of tells you something. I would say it tells you something. And
not
then
about
again,
quarterback development, though. It doesn't tell you anything about that.
No, it doesn't tell you anything about that. It's what does it tell us? Maybe it tells us nothing, in fact. And then during the regular season, which again, these are both small samples, but he averaged 5.8 yards per attempt, 1 interception, no touchdowns under pressure. If he was playing a team that was a really bad defense, I'd be interested in like, oh, the dual threat, he'll run a lot. Like, they're not playing for anything. They don't have to protect him. Just let him run the football. But he's going to get destroyed by the Texans, and he struggles under pressure. So, no, I'm not interested in him, and I don't think there's a pass catcher on this team I'd play.
My enduring memory of Riley Leonard was not being allowed to throw in the biggest game of his life against the Kyle's Ohio State Buckeyes last January. So, not
last
sure.
January
really
was more fun than this one.
Yes, I know. I have meant to. Hey, you know what? Some of you thought you were maybe going to see the Bucs in a semifinal game live in person in Miami. Had something to say about that.
I've been a Carson Beck fan since he got kicked out of Georgia.
Wow, that's very. But how do you feel about the Texans' offense heading in the playoffs? Kind of like the Saints. Kind of like the Jaguars. A team playing much better ball on the offensive side of ball in the second half of the season.
And a first-year OC, I think that matters a little bit. An offensive line that, was not good last year, and they're like, what if we got rid of dudes? Does that help? It didn't help for a while. It seems to be like less bad recently, though. And then the thing that's really important to consider with the Texans offense is like, what's the bar that you need to clear? And they just have a lower bar than most other teams. I mean, they're kind of like the Broncos, where the offense can get away with some stuff that most other offenses can't because of how good the defense is. And I think the Texans defense is even better than the Broncos defense. I actually think the Texans offense, I think I trust it a little bit more than the Broncos offense. The Broncos offense is kind of so streaky and unpredictable. At its best, it's pretty good, but the way the Texans have played down the stretch, and Stroud has played a lot better as well.
Every time you check the spreadsheets, they say Stroud's playing really well. And it certainly doesn't feel like it because they just don't put up points in droves. But to your point, they don't need to put up points in droves.
They don't need to. And they're not really trying to. Like the defense is...
That surely won't come back to bite them.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, when you look at these teams, these gross teams, don't they just feel like they're going to get to the Super Bowl and lose? They're so horrific Super Bowl loss coded to me. Like that's getting like point. what team gets blown out in the Super Bowl more than this year's Houston Texans? Like they get there.
This year's Denver Broncos.
This year's
Denver Broncos is actually significantly more Super Bowl blowout loss coded than the Texans. So I've immediately been proven wrong. But But I do think that this team has that kind of DNA as well, because they get pressure at the front four. They don't blitz. This is like this is a playoff defense. They're great. They're really sound in coverage. The front four is ridiculous. And on the other side, they're going to run the ball with a bad run game. What's more playoffs than that? And
Man,
they got decent enough passing game. So they're another team. I think they're kind of like the Jaguars. They're very different than the Jaguars and how they're built and what they look like, what it feels like to watch them. But and the matchup issues they present. But overall, kind of comes to a similar thing of like, I don't want to play this team.
No,
this is one of those teams I don't want to draw. The Texans, compared to, the AFC has some. I'd much rather get whoever wins this Ravens-Steelers game. Obviously, the Chargers are quite a good draw given how poor their offensive line has been. Even the Bills are like, obviously you don't want to play them, but they're not like some juggernaut.
No,
like you would expect. So I think the Texans are kind of up there with anyone in the AFC as like team I don't want to face for one game.
I completely agree that after the Jags, they're the second. I want to face them a little more than some other teams, but I still don't really. I prefer not to. But if I had to, it'd be fine. But I'd prefer not to.
It'd be totally fine if I did.
Yeah, it would be totally fine. I'd still prefer not to. I think that's a good way to lay out the Jaguars. Quick playoff note, by the way. Adam reminded us earlier, the Rams have a little more to play for than I think we realized. If Seattle beats the 49ers, the Rams are the 5 seed with a win. So Pat actually was onto something there. And of course, they would then be facing the Panthers or the Buccaneers.
On the other hand, Jimmy Garoppolo has contract incentives to play 25% and 50% of this game. So what really wins out here? Jimmy Garoppolo's bank account or the number 5 seed?
That's true. So
You'd much rather have the 5 seed though. So what is it? They need
They just need the Seahawks to win.
Seahawks to
win, basically. Yeah.
That's right. The 49ers are the 1 or the 6, and the Seahawks are like the 1 or the 5. Yeah, I think that's the way it works out.
The Rams might actually tackle it. I might have to take Sean McVay more at face value when he said he's going to play his guys, because he did say that, and I just ignored it when he said that. We're at the part of the board where the games begin to get more pointless, Patrick. That includes Philadelphia and Washington, where it seems the big-name Eagles probably aren't going to be playing 60 minutes or maybe even 30. Just stay away from Philadelphia entirely in Week 18 lineup decisions.
At what point are we just jamming Tank Bigsby, against this horrific defense?
They need to see what he's got headed into the postseason too. They haven't really gotten to open it up. They do. They haven't. Saquon goes down. You're really going to rely on Will Shipley. You need to see what you got in Tank Bigsby. That's why they did trade for him. They traded for him. Supposedly because he's a special teams ace. But
yeah, I don't know. I probably this defense is so bad that you do kind of want to think about. Is there anyone that I can trust here?
As soon as you said that, no. Well, I just frankly don't think Jalen Hurts plays. I don't think Saquon plays. Dallas Goedert is on the injury report. He won't play.
They didn't play Saquon when he could set the single season rushing record last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Sirianni said earlier this week, he didn't name any names, but he said they'll rest some players. They will have some players who are active and won't play just because.
I was not expecting them to rest Jahan Dotson and play AJ Brown for 60 minutes, but that's what they did.
That actually would be very Eagles coded, like to send one star out as a shot across the bow. No, I don't think any of the starters play. And Sirianni said this. You have to have a certain amount of players active, or you will have a certain amount of players active. Not all of them will end up playing, and that could be the starters. So I actually think Tank Bigsby call. I would just love to get Saquon inactive, and it's clean. You just play Tank Bigsby. But I think either way, I like the Tank Bigsby call.
The fact that the Eagles are 4.5-point home favorites against the Commanders suggests strongly that the starters.
Well, there's a film contingent that's pretty Tanner McKee pilled, and
by the way, so Tanner McKee has been officially announced as the starter, actually. So
okay, and Saquon.
He was kind of crazy good in what limited action we have seen him play in. The stats do like the small Tanner McKee sample, so I don't know what he's priced out in DFS and stuff, but I would think about it.
Who stops this McKee Tank Bigsby quarterback running back duo?
This defense is really, really bad.
It's shockingly awful.
Yeah, and it's a good thing. It's Commanders franchise just in great shape. Got a defensive head coach. Didn't
it all hit on the illusion to end all illusions last year?
just signing a bunch of old veterans, getting them in Dan Quinn's hand and make some magic. No, it didn't work out. I think we want to find ways to at least consider attacking this defense.
Also, last year, I mean, will ultimately be the same spot, not exactly the same, I don't think. But Tanner McKee got the start in Week 18 last year, as Kerrane pointed out. Played a decent game, 269 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jahan Dotson was active for this game as the team's wide receiver 1 and saw 11 targets, 7 for 94. Like, a little McKee.
Upping the triplets, the new triplets, Tanner McKee.
This is the big 3. I think we've got a big 3 situation developing here.
The other thing, this is going to seem insane, but I really do believe it. I think that the Eagles are incentivized to showcase McKee. This league doesn't have enough quarterbacks.
No.
So, I mean, if you can make Tanner McKee look good, if you could potentially create a bit of a Tanner McKee scam, someone's buying. You're gonna have a buyer there. We've seen this
at the end of like every training camp too. Teams shuffle their backup quarterbacks with like Pickett going to the Raiders, and the Eagles are part of the quarterback swap that was like DTR and some scam for some other scam or whatever.
Kyle,
this would be a Matt Flynn level scam, is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to get a Matt Flynn type of scam going. Get me a what did they net? Was that a second or third? They got like a day 2 pick. For
second round pick, I believe.
Oh my god.
It was the high.
Yeah, you know how he's like got that. Like that's a goal. He's got. I'm gonna get my second round pick for Matt.
He's got like a corny leadership board where he's like 2026 goals, and the only thing written on there is second round pick for Tanner McKee.
Kyle, very quickly, anything at all to say about the Commanders? Marcus Mariota.
No, even with JCM blowing up last week, like 11 for 100 something and 2 touchdowns, Chris Rodriguez was out. Chris Rodriguez is not even on the injury report this week, so he'll play and he will ruin the back-to-back potential of JCM.
Very sad. That's how it goes, though. With Justin Herbert resting, the Chargers are approaching 2 touchdown underdog status against the Broncos as Denver looks to lock down the number 1 seed. Any room to get weird with the Chargers, Kyle, or is it just like too unpredictable? It's Trey Lance. We don't really know what the receiver rotation is going to look like. The receiver rotation's gotten very large in recent weeks. It's just going to be super run heavy. Any room to get weird with I was about to say San Diego with Los Angeles Chargers.
It would be a different situation if, like with Tanner McKee, I think Tanner McKee is probably good enough to throw for, like we said, 269, like 250 yards on 40 attempts. I don't think Trey Lance will be given 40 or maybe even 30 attempts. I do not think he would hit 250 yards on those attempts. He's been one of the barely plays, obviously, throughout his career, but has not been effective at throwing the football. I will note, Keenan Allen is 6 catches away from $750,000, 9 receiving yards away from $250K, 2 touchdowns from $250,000. And this was from Chargers beat reporter Chris Rim was saying Keenan Allen told the reporters he's specifically playing on Sunday to hit the incentives. We're talking about $1 million. Then he looks over at Trey Lance. Hey, Trey, we get this 6. We going out to eat, bro. And then Trey Lance Trey Lance ups the ante. He says, I need a new car. What do you think you're getting a G-Wagon out of this? Take your dinner and go home, man. But I do think Keenan Allen is out here for maybe a half of football chasing incentives. If you're playing Trey Lance, there's a little bit of Keenan Allen juice there. Maybe the only other interesting thing would be to see if they play Trey Harris a lot, who's been their 4th wide receiver, who weirdly subs on every now and then. He was a really interesting college prospect, hasn't had the opportunity to do anything. This is a good showcase game for him if they give him the opportunity. Trey Lance, almost 26 years old. This will be his 6th career start. This was a top 5 pick. Pick really turned out well. Pat Rook, this is way too big of a question to be asking you at this point of the show. But is Bo Nix good? Bo Nix good?
I mean, he's not bad.
Is he sure?
I don't think he's bad. I think the thing with Bo Nix is doing he's doing something that you can use on a rookie contract, right?
That's true.
There's this with quarterbacks in the NFL right now. There's the guys who give you like that surplus value on the rookie contract where you're like, I can't believe we have this guy on a rookie deal. He's like firmly not in that group. That would be May. That would be Jaden Daniels, assuming he gets back healthy and playing like he was as a rookie. Obviously, Mahomes and Allen were that. Those types of guys, but he's more like, as far until we have to pay this guy, this is pretty good still. I would put him in that group. I think you're gonna have a tough decision with Bo Nix. I guess in a couple years that you not franchise, you pick up the 5th-year option very clearly with Bo Nix, but then he's like a leading candidate for being stuck in Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa purgatory. But you don't have to worry about that for a while. You've got 2-3 years to kind of figure, and obviously we'll know a lot more about Bo Nix, and maybe there's another level to his game. So, like his efficiency this year has been actually quite similar to Kyler Murray's, which is, in some ways not good at all. But you're in a much better situation in Denver as Bo Nix than Murray was with the Cardinals. You've got a much better offensive mind, and you've got a much, much better defense. So, and potentially, this is an offense that'll continue to improve as well. They could
use another weapon or two. Yeah, they have okay weapons, but they do not have amazing.
They have okay weapons, but I mean, when losing J.K. Dobbins hurts, you could have had stronger weapons in the offseason. So I think I would look. We're talking about a 2nd-year player. Like he could have another level to his game above this. He's played well now. For over the first 2 seasons, he has played well. He's a frustrating player. He's really inconsistent, but he's definitely not bad, and maybe there's room to grow from here. And it's the Broncos. You have time to figure out exactly what he is before you have to commit to him long term. So you're in a good spot.
I'm glad you had like a genuine level-headed take on Bo. That was about the best state of the Bo Nix I've ever heard, just in terms of like drilling down on like the true reality of the Bo Nix situation. Not as bad as some people make it out to be. It's not as good as some others make it out to be. But
if you really liked, I don't even know who this quarterback would be this year because it's such a thin quarterback class. But like in a world where Lenore Sellers did come out and you took him in the late 2nd, okay. I don't think like throwing a dart on a quarterback maybe next year or whatever would be the totally reasonable thing to do. For the Broncos, I think they're in that situation like the Eagles were with Carson Wentz when they took Jalen Hurts. Like where you're like, look, I wouldn't mind another pretty good out to better quarterback play than what we're getting. Like I don't want to be reliant on this guy and treat him like a franchise guy. We should probably have other irons in the fire. So, I think it would probably make sense for the Broncos to do that, but I think it would make sense for a lot of teams to play quarterback that way instead of kind of blindly committing to. We should just no team should ever do what the Vikings did with JJ McCarthy this year. Like that should never happen again. Like my hope is that that's like the biggest wake up call of all time. Like if you've got a quarterback in the building who can play, you just don't let him leave.
That's a really, really good point. And also don't do the opposite. Daniel Jones has like a mystery bag 5th year that is fine, but not really that great. Then don't pay him $140 million.
Yeah. My thing with quarterbacks is like try not to commit and try not to let them leave.
Really
like you're just like trying to stay in that middle ground.
Well, you're saying like that's some Arrested Development men's dream. Like don't commit. Don't commit. But don't let them leave.
It is. Don't be single and don't get married.
Don't be single.
Unless you hit on one of these guys. Like with Jordan Love, I would not have given him that big deal that he got. I would have been like, no, we're gonna threaten you with the friend. Would have played hardball, but then once it would have taken me a year longer, and I would have paid him more. So the Packers got a better deal than I would have gotten with Jordan Love, but I just wouldn't. But I would never ever have signed that Daniel Jones deal. I would have franchised Daniel Jones. You sign Barkley and you franchise Jones. You don't commit to these guys when you don't have to commit. You kick the can down the road on committing to these guys till they prove beyond a shadow of doubt that they deserve the money, and then you give them all the money, because if a guy's worth that money, he's like,
the Dak or Cousins.
Josh Allen's worth 2 times more than he's going to get paid. Yeah. You can't overpay a true franchise quarterback. So just make sure you have the guy before you pay him.
Advocating for Jerry Jones salary cap management, but I actually do agree. 3 more games. We'll go through them quickly. Kyle, who's playing quarterback for the Vikings against the Packers? Is this a game we are touching with a 10-foot pole? The Vikings approaching 2-score favorites against the Packers.
Yeah, it's probably JJ McCarthy. He's practicing in full, and they do genuinely need to get more evaluation time out of him. I mean, I don't think I'd play. Actually, you know what? Aaron Jones has not been practicing. If he gets ruled out, Jordan Mason is a 7.5 point. If he plays, he's
now 8.5 points, by the way.
8.5 point. He didn't play last week, I believe, because of an ankle injury, but he was limited in practice. If he plays, or if he doesn't, it's just Xavier Scott getting all of the work. But if it's Jordan Mason or if it's Xavier Scott, I do feel really good about playing a 7.5 point home favorite running back against a Packers team that is not playing their starter or their backup quarterback. I don't think they'll play any single starter. I mean, they've already hinted as much, but I do think that even the sort of depth options, it's really not going to happen.
Pat, quickly, heading into the offseason, can you name a single good Green Bay Packers wide receiver?
Christian Watson, man.
He's good.
I mean, he's a good role player. He's a good role player.
He's good.
He's a good number 3 role player. He's like the best number 3 receiver in the NFL. He's the best.
I think he's number 2.
No.
I think he's a good
He's the best number 3 receiver in the NFL. He should be a number 3, not a number 2.
He's
even now.
Well, first of all, he's a number 1. He's not a number 2.
Well, right now
he's
he
number
is.
1 receiver.
A guy with this injury history cannot be your number 1 receiver. A guy also who cannot catch more than 5 passes cannot be your number 1 receiver. He cannot be used in a way that allows
I would like
him
to introduce you to Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, he's not a good number 1 receiver.
No, he's not a good number. Yeah, I mean, it is in kind of the Terry McLaurin, Cortland Sutton school of number 1 receivers, but I think Christian Watson is being like a guy who can draw targets while also like, okay, Christian Watson has an 18 ADOT this year. He has a 16.7 ADOT for his career. He has 2.51 yards per route run. He has 2.11 for his career. This is an extremely valuable type of real life receiver. And it's not bad for fantasy either, but it's like to be able to consistently draw targets, deliver efficiently on your routes while having an ADOT that is frankly absurdly high. Like a deep threat, you'd be like, 14.
Prohibitive to production. Like it's so high that it's going to make it difficult.
It's not prohibitive. It's just more old school. And
good for the offense, man.
It undercuts my point too. Like, well, he can't ever catch more than 5 passes. That's because when you actually do damage down the field, you don't have to catch 8 or 9 passes. You can catch.
I think he's very Jordan Addison coded. He's pushing ADOT even farther than guys like Addison or T. Higgins. But I do think his role is so valuable that I'd be happy if he was my number 2. I agree.
Very
Probably
1970s or 1980s coded. Back when number 1 receiver.
It's like Deshaun
just run far.
Jackson or something.
Yeah.
Like this is. I mean, he's not as good as Deshaun, but this is. I don't know. This is a very valuable role. Like I think, I mean, more for real life than fantasy, but I think he's a solid fantasy receiver. And what you're adding to the offense when you can deliver efficiently on consistently deep targets, you're opening up so much for other people, and you're making it easier to run. Like you're doing a lot for the offense. So I think he is in a real sense, like in a real life sense, I think he is their number 1 receiver and will remain so. What they honestly needed was Tucker Kraft to stay healthy. Yes. Because he talk about a guy who can do damage underneath and with the yak. Like they actually had this offense just didn't have all the pieces healthy together, but Watson and Kraft are like a perfect combo with outside deep threat. And
then even Reed and Dobbs do become more valuable. It becomes a full-bodied skill core when all those guys are healthy. But people are rarely always healthy together in the NFL. Christian Watson, good player, I guess. Pat, I'm going to read this one word for word because I don't know if this actually makes sense. Can we claim the Jets remaining touchdown underdogs against the Bills, even though Josh Allen will probably barely play, is disrespectful? Or is it arguably still too respectful? Should the Jets be even bigger underdogs against Mitchell Trubisky? I think Josh Allen's going to start because he likes to have his game started streak thing, but I don't think he's really going to play. As this line of Bills, 7-point favorites with Mitchell Trubisky, respectful or disrespectful of the Jets?
It's very respectful. I've never seen this is Victorian English levels of pomp and circumstance.
Well, I was going to say sportsbooks put on that the Mizzou Ohio State bowl game from 2 years ago, and this Brady Cook guy, he might have something in there.
This is the most respect that a team has ever gotten. I've decided I'm going to make some notes on all these teams, before we head into the offseason, where you get to, and I think it's an advantage and an edge to kind of like clear your mind a little bit of what happened in the past and think about what could happen in the future with all the new changes and stuff. But I sometimes do that too much, and I want to just put a note. I'm gonna have like a little index card near my work computer. Maybe like tuck it into the monitor, and it's just gonna say the Jets are not a serious franchise.
No.
And
They're
I just
the worst.
don't want to forget that.
Worst in the NFL. They really are. Just the worst in the NFL.
So I'm
all giving up for debate.
Yeah, I mean the Brady Cook thing is absurd. He is averaging worse than minus. It's like I think almost minus 16 EPA per game. Okay,
wow.
He's like a blowout per game. You know, he's over 2 touchdown. Like he's a over 2 touchdown line mover based on how he's played. So, I mean, by comparison, Purdy's like adding 12. So, you know, he's worse than a shadow Purdy. You know how you played Shadow Link in Legend of Zelda? He's like, he's worse than that.
That's right.
He's like a shadow peak Mahomes.
So against that backdrop, Kyle, is there any room to get weird with the Bills and DFS?
It's going to be tough because I agree. I think Allen quite literally plays 1 snap and leaves. He hasn't even like practiced.
He'll play a series, I think, so it's not unseemly. I think he'll play.
Well, they did it last year. He played literally 1 snap last year.
It was only 1 snap. You're right.
Why just not sit him? Is it some kind of contract?
It's a games played streak.
Starts
Iron Man.
Yeah.
But Josh, you're wrecking your per game career stats. You're wrecking it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, last year all of his stats were off by like adding in zeros for an entire game.
Right.
Is like literally what he got. I think that's what they'll do this week. The only, I think, intriguing thing would be if we get any update, or maybe you just gamble on it and say James Cook isn't going to play much. Last year when they did this, James Cook actually got 10 carries. He played, I think, roughly a half of football. They just ran the ball a lot, and Ray Davis got up to 15 carries in week 18 last year. If they were to play their starters even less, we could be looking at like 20 carries in a game for Ray Davis.
Ooh.
But other than that, like, I don't want to play their starting receivers, let alone their backups from this Trubisky. So it would just be some Ray Davis trying to pick up garbage time, or the whole game's garbage carries. Other than that, there's no Bill I care about.
Yeah, how could we even tell if they started their receivers or not?
Keon Coleman.
Like Brandon Cooks is playing. Does that mean they rested or started the guys?
the canary in the coal mine is Keon Coleman. If you see Keon Coleman out there, that's backup.
Right.
But everyone else is like Gabe Davis. If they healthy scratched him or didn't, I couldn't tell you.
Right. I don't know what that means.
Brandon Cooks.
Tyrell
Shavers. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I have no idea what anything means in Chiefs Raiders. By far the most pointless game of the entire week, Kyle. How is Chris Oladokun favored by 5.5 points? I mean, there's nothing to even say. I mean, what do you say about the Chiefs heading into week 18?
Truly nothing. The reason I genuinely believe the reason the Raiders are favored is that they guarantee themselves.
Hold on. No.
Isn't it Oladokun?
Chiefs are favored.
I said it backwards. The reason the Raiders are projected to lose is because they guarantee themselves number 1 overall pick with a loss. They're still very likely.
It's Oladokun, by the way. Oladokun.
Is it?
Oladokun,
yeah.
I thought you were saying the thing in Street Fighter where they do the
Oladokun.
No, it's Oladokun.
The Raiders guarantee themselves the number 1 overall pick with a loss. They're likely to get it either way because they hold like the tiebreaker with the Giants. The Giants would need to enter like a weird tiebreaker scenario to steal it back. But I promise you, they're going to go out and they're going to do their best to lose. They've already done it by sitting all their players versus the Raiders. So, and Chiefs defense played relatively well last week against the Broncos. They didn't win, right? They played a decent game against the Broncos. I think they at least have a good enough defense to shut down the tandem of backup quarterbacks we could see from the Raiders.
Pat, take us home with. Do you still fear nothing in the valley of what's the phrase? The shadow of death. Stared down death with Brock Bowers this year. Are you still not afraid? Is he going to remain one of the keys to fantasy football in 2020?
Well, I think he'll probably be. Well, wait. So let me ask you: where do you think he goes in drafts next year?
Not as high as he did this year.
I agree, but where do you think he goes?
Third round. No, late second.
That's what I thought. I guess 2-3 turn, and 2-3 turn. I'll have plenty. If he does fall to the third, I'll have a bunch. So if he's like in the mid third, I'm gonna have a bunch. He's just so talented and
shockingly good player. Like he's never been more wrong about someone.
Yeah,
except for being instantly right about him this year, but. Other than that,
well, yeah, except for that part. But the like there's no one else on the team. I'm sure they'll draft a rookie, but like he's the entire passing game. That tends to be pretty good for a tight end. He runs all the routes. Like they're gonna be bad next year. The defense stinks. It's maybe not like the worst in the league. It's not
Max
good.
Crosby's gonna be gone.
Max Crosby probably will be gone. Yeah. And it kind of makes sense for them that they're so their timelines don't align. It actually makes sense for them to trade him and get some compensation, some extra draft picks. They really need the draft capital. So, yeah, I mean the offensive line is a pretty big concern, but they have Colton Miller, who's a star, and their tackle, and he's been hurt basically the whole year. So that will be a huge addition. They could probably, and if you've got tackle figured out at least, on one side, then you can, it's maybe get the rest sorted out a little bit quicker. So I would like to see them make some offensive line additions. Fernando Mendoza, who's probably going to be on the Raiders, just the number one pick.
No. You're talking.
I'm not a huge advocate for him as I think he's probably like a Cam Ward level.
He's the rich man's
number
Brady
one pick.
Cook. He's the rich man's Brady Cook.
No, he's better than that.
He's like Brady Cook was in Mizzou. The arm is.
He'd have to be a multi-billionaire Brady Cook.
Yeah, he's a very wealthy Brady Cook, and he's a very.
He comes out kind of Mitch Trubisky-ish in my stuff.
That's interesting. I could see that actually.
Yeah. So people have compared him to Matt Ryan as kind of the high-end comp.
Who he reminds me about, kind of disconcertingly so, is Russell Wilson.
In personality,
the dog levels are like so like. He is like Russell Wilson when he's speaking. He's like the 15-year younger version of Russell Wilson. Like,
yeah, but it's like instead of selling a Subway sandwich, it's a meme coin.
He would sell something wholesome. He'd sell something more wholesome than a meme coin.
So. No, I don't think so.
Like this guy when he talks.
I think he's down to shill. I think you're really underestimating Fernando Mendoza's interest in shilling stuff. Well, we'll see. We'll see soon.
We'll see.
Anyway, I think he strikes me as someone I'm okay betting on to be a facilitator. Like, so if they get the number one pick and they figure out the offensive line a little bit, then it's like, hey, can you get targets, 6, 7, 8 yards downfield to Brock Bowers? I think that he can. So yeah, if I get a discount compared to where Bowers was going this year, then I'm going to be back in on Brock Bowers almost certainly. He's just
problem is everyone's too smart now though, so they won't discount him. They're going to see the same things you're saying.
I think they will, because I want a discount. Yeah. When I want a discount, I think everyone's going to want a discount. Like who wants Brock Bowers more than me? I'm assuming almost no one.
That's
so
true.
If I'm like,
there's only a third of this podcast that wants him more than you, which is a low number.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a market-based game. I think we'll at least have him at kind of the 210, 211 range as opposed to like 203 or whatever.
Producer Adams comparing him to Daniel Jones, by the way, Mendoza. I could see that. The good version of Daniel.
The Jones Trubisky connection was like very.
That's true.
I mean, they were.
That's
very
a really
similar,
good point.
Yeah.
Get Mendoza. Do you guys
he's
know
big.
That?
That's the other. He's like a big facilitator. You could do worse.
He's like if Russell Wilson were large. Do you guys know the Get Mendoza reference, by the way?
No.
His game's so different than Mendoza's, or than Wilson's.
Go to YouTube and Google McBain Mendoza. It's one of the all-time classic Simpsons clips. This was one of the all-time classic episodes.
Is this the boat, the Live Forever?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. By the way, it's a cartoon. It's a relatively violent clip, by the way. There's a lot of bullets in the Get Mendoza clip, so maybe don't look it up if you're the faint of cartoon heart. This podcast was not for the faint of heart because week 18 is not for the faint of heart, but we hope we took you through some of it. We hope we gave you something to think about heading into the offseason. Pat Kerrane of Legendary Upside always does that. Just a true honor to have Pat back and talking ball with us. True honor always to have Kyle, too, done an amazing job all year long. Such good stuff from Mr. Dvorchak. Denny, I don't know. Does he still work for us? I don't even know. Denny will be back Sunday night. Kyle, Denny, and I are going to break down Sunday after it happens. So for Patrick Kerrane of LegendaryUpside.com, truly worth the subscription. For Kyle Dvorchak, I'm Patrick Daugherty. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you really soon.